Joined now by Lance Corporal Jeff Sanders, United States Marine Corps. Corporal Sanders, good morning. Where do I find you this morning?
I am in Lincoln University, Pennsylvania, so about an hour west of Philadelphia.
Are you an Eagles fan, Corporal?
I am absolutely through and
Oh,
through. As a Marine,
I got a buddy.
I've never as a Marine I've never cried, but on the Super Bowl win, Super Bowl 52, I did.
Well, it could be worse. You could be a Steelers fan. I'm a Browns fan, but it's great to have you here. Corporal, would you tell us when you were wounded and how the recovery's going on this Veterans Day?
Yeah, so I was injured on September 6, 2004, and I was 4 Marines were seriously injured the night before, so we went out to figure out, what happened, and went into a town, Al Jaff, soccer, and we left. And when we were rolling out of town, I remember sitting there talking to Lance Corporal Hansen, um, God rest his soul, and I remember seeing smoke and debris out of the corner of my eye, and the next thing I knew, I was laying on the road, and that's it's what makes my story a little bit more wild than everybody else's is because I was blown from my Humvee as we were driving down the road 50 miles per hour or so. Um, the SOPs are to blow through blast sites, so I got left back by the blast site. It was an ambush. I was
Oh,
in vehicle 3 of 4, and vehicle 4 then proceeded to blow by me. I don't really know if they went around me, if they almost drove over top of me, or what that looked like. But, roughly, they took up fighting positions, and then there was a 15-minute firefight until, Lance Corporal Fairchild was able to go back in and actually, he didn't know what he was going back to, but thankfully he was going back to pick my alive butt off that road and, throw me in the back of a Humvee to get me to the bird.
so Corporal, what's the journey been like since then, and how has the fund helped you on it?
I mean, the fun was I'm blessed to get in on the ground floor. And having my case manager still there, it's still an original case manager. It started with the
Wow.
support of my family. They supported my dad, drove down every weekend from central Pennsylvania to DC. So they started covering expenses there. And they've stayed alongside. I've gotten, on your alive day, they'll send you a gift card because they know it's your alive day. And that means a lot to me. And it's those little moments that keep picking you up when you're having these peaks and valleys, as I call it, with my struggles. And when you're in a valley and you need to get back up, you can always give your case manager at Semper Fi Fund a call, and they'll definitely give you that pickup.
Corporal, I've been doing these programs on Veterans Day and Memorial Day for 20 years with the Semper Fi Fund and the fund.org. I've never heard the term Alive Day before. So I've done literally hundreds of interviews with wounded warriors like you. I've never heard the term Alive Day. What does it mean?
Second chance at life, you know. So my live day then is September 6, 2004. I think HBO actually made a special at one time called Alive Day, had like 10 severely wounded vets on, and kind of similar interview process. But it's just kind of like a second birthday we celebrate. If we're on this earth and we were injured that day, especially me as an amputee, and we were very, very, very close to death, and we got a second
Well,
chance. And
yeah.
the
I'm
sooner
always
we
amazed. I learn,
realize,
I'm a civilian. I don't know anything about the military. I'm just a civilian, but I'm always amazed about what I learn talking to men and women like you. Tell me about the fund, finding you or you finding the fund. And I always ask one of my guests who's really got it together. Um, is there red tape involved? Because the audience doesn't like red tape.
um, red tape. I mean, we are wearing the color red. I think this fund's goal is to eliminate the red tape. I mean, there's new programs coming out for the VA for housing grants and stuff, but that's where the funds really stepped in for me is around the house, things that I just can't normally keep up with. Helping with making that home more accessible and just kind of keeping that peace of mind so that when I'm building my business, and I'm a father of 3, 9, 7, and 5. I'm busy, so I need someone to be watching, out for me to make sure I'm doing the right things and keeping my head above water.
You've had the same case manager for 20 years? I mean, I knew Wendy for 22 years till she
Yeah.
retired, but
Lisa
I
Lisa's been my case manager the entire time, and we joked we weren't sure. I'm sure we met, but we they did have that reunion that 2 weekends ago, so I was able to see Lisa, and it was great. She was able to meet my wife, because she knows how, she's had lots of conversations with her, but never met her, and it's cool to see them come together and basically are like, girlfriends because Lisa's been alongside of me as long as my wife has, in fact, much longer. So Lisa might know what
huh.
makes me tick more than my own wife.
So, very last question, Corporal, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
No
How did
problem.
they find you, or how did you find them?
They were there. I mean, day one at Walter Reed. I don't know what day it was. I was injured in September. I know that it started around that same fall time and everything, but the first thing I remember that was like super instrumental, and again, where Semper Fi Fund was started as the Semper Fi Fund. So as us Marines, we're a little biased, and I am happy that they've come around to do America's Fund as well, and support all service members. But when we were at Walter Reed, they got all the Marines, just the Marines, which if you were at Walter Reed, that meant you were an amputee. The only reason a Marine was at Walter Reed was because you were an amputee, at least that I met. And they gave us all Dell laptops. And they're like, we need you to get like back in touch with reality, check your email, get into like normal daily activities that you would have been doing prior. And I just remember that being such a good step forward and being like, no one had ever done something that nice for me before. I'm a Marine grunt, like, you just like we're fighters, not. And then your world gets turned
Yeah.
upside down, and you realize how much more you need to support, whether TBI, PTSD, all this fun stuff that I get to enjoy every day.
Co- Corporal Sanders, that's amazing testimony. Thank you for giving it to us on a Veterans Day. I hope you and the Eagles and the boys, your 3 kids, all do very, very well. And I appreciate your taking the time to tell us about the fund.org. Thank you, Corporal.
Thank you, Hugh. I really appreciate it.